It's time for GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live. Today on this week's episode, it's all about the vocals. I'll be showing you some tips and tricks and techniques all about recording vocals, whether you've got a microphone, whether you're using your headset mic or your built-in mic. There's a bunch of options, especially in GarageBand iOS, options out the wazoo. Also be talking about or ranting about Facebook and their copyright system, and talking about your exports and why they may be too loud or too quiet when you're sending them out of GarageBand. All of that, and of course the obligatory bucket of fish here on GarageBand Weekly. Let's do it!
GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly.
Oh, indeed. Thank you, Kronk Song, and welcome aboard to GarageBand Weekly. Later on, we'll be showing you this. And you know what? You know what I've just realized? I've still got my green screen on. This is professionalism at its absolute utmost, but at least I worked it out now and not later. So see how my GarageBand tracks have some really interesting kind of green screen stuff going on behind them? Yeah, that's because I've got my green screen still on. So if I do this, there you go. That's what things should be looking like around here. Like I say, I run a tight ship. Welcome aboard. I hope you're all doing well. Don't forget, if you are here live and you've got questions about GarageBand, all you need to do is put a Q or the word question in front, and we'll be able to answer your questions. And now that I've gone from green screen back to regular screen, check out that flicker we got there, bro. That's really going to be annoying. So I'm going to just have to jump out of here. So I beg your patience while I jump out, because I need to. The only way to fix this is to go out of StreamYard right back in. Aren't we off to a flyer? An absolute flying start. So I'll see you in about 10 seconds. And we're back, and we're flicker free. Don't know why that is. It's just how it rolls. Sometimes to fix things, you just have to turn it off and on. What do they call it? The universal reset, I believe. Let's say good day to the folks who are here live. G'day to Thomas Christ. Hello to Mark Bro. Hope you are doing well. G'day to Con Handrogianus. How did I go, Con? Hondrogianus? There you go. I know, it is I kind of like the effect with the background there. G'day, Chip. I haven't seen Chip on a live show for a very long time. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Ahoy there to Weary Pirates. Arr, is your favourite band Ahar? Ahar. No. G'day to R.K. Harley, I hope you are well as well. G'day, Ricky, Neil, and everyone else who is here live. If you're here live, just say g'day. And like I say, as I was saying before, I was really interrupted by my flickering face. If you've got a question, just put a big Q or the word question in front of your question. I'll definitely answer as many of those as I can as we go through the show. Hello to Jade Star. G'day to Brian as well. Let's jump into the news and notes, shall we? We're 3 minutes in. Time is wasted. So news and notes. First, happy 4th of July to those folks in the US who choose to celebrate it. And whether you choose to celebrate it or not, I don't really mind. I feel about 4th of July like I feel about Australia Day here in Australia. It has its problems. It has its good sides. I think it's okay to celebrate and to have some patriotism towards your country, as long as you're not at the extreme end. So, like everything in life, I think as long as you're somewhere in that middle zone and you're not an extremist about anything, you're okay. If you're out there wearing an Uncle Sam coat and hat and shooting a handgun with one hand and fireworks with the other, you're probably going a little bit too hard at the 4th of July. Just saying. So, but yeah, if you're having a barbecue, if you're sinking a few beers, if you're enjoying yourself and maybe listening to some cool music, then more power to you. And hey, isn't a day off good anyway, irregardless? And plus, it's on a Monday for you folks. So there you go. Win, triple win. The other news and notes, that was my first news and notes. The other news that I wanted to put out there, and look, it's not specifically GarageBand related, but it kind of is, and that is that Songtember is just 2 months away. Yeah, I know. 8 weeks, in fact. So you don't have a whole lot of time to get yourself ready. And, I know everyone's got their own Songtember prep. Wait a minute. What's that? You don't know what Songtember is? Well, okay, I know most of you do. But for those that are new to the community, new to the channel, what Songtember is all about is creating music. It is creating, recording, releasing a song in the month of September. Now, when I say releasing, people get a bit scared. They're like, I don't want to release my music. I just do it for me. Release just means letting go. In this context, releasing means letting go. It just means that you have a finite period of time. You have 30 days of September from the 1st to the 30th to write a song, to record it, to mix it, to master it, and to have it finished. And then you can share it with the community here if you choose to do so. So it's just a really good opportunity to get creating. And if you're anything like me and you maybe made a pact with yourself that you were going to do a song a month for the year 2022, and you're in July and you've done exactly one song, then maybe you are also a good candidate for Songtember, just like me. I know many folks are creating their own music, and that's cool, and doing a lot. Like people like Thomas Christ here in the chat, creating a lot of music. Some of us are not. Some of us need that kick up the bum. So we'll get there. Loud explosions outside will be starting any minute. Yeah, right, and go all night. I know. And won't someone please think of the dogs? Poor doggos, they don't like the loud explosions, do they? So Songtember, get ready for it. It's coming soon. If you don't know, if you want to check out 2020, 2021, 2019, they're all here on the channel. If you just search Songtember on Pete John's Songtember, you're going to find all of the live shows, all of the songs, everything we did there. And last year's song that we did here on the channel was Work in Progress, which is still probably one of my favorite songs that I've actually written and recorded and released, mostly because you folks joined. We did it in GarageBand iOS, and you folks joined in the chorus. So the final chorus was a big group vocal. Let's for those that haven't been around, let's just pause and have a quick look at it, because we all recorded this one live. So if we go Work in Progress, I will come in here. So this is the track that was completed. I'm on the wrong button. Let's press this one. Boom. So this was the track that we did, Work in Progress, and I'll just zoom it down here towards the end, because the final chorus has a really cool thing where what we did is I shared the project, and people that wanted to contribute recorded their own backing vocal, and then we brought everyone in. So maybe we need to do something collaborative like this year as well. Let's just find the spot here, and that's just before there. Let's find this. All right, I don't know, man. Here it is. This bit. Building up. Because we're all just so I can progress. Nobody's got it figured out. Yes, we're all just so I can progress. So there was something like 24 tracks, so 24 individual folks who joined in that big chorus, and it was a heck of a lot of fun. Really enjoyed doing that. So, it's join in again this year and create your own song. Join in with others. Collaborate with others if you don't want to do it by yourself. But yeah, Songtember, it's the bomb diggity. Other news and notes here. So speaking of 4th of July, Steve Jobs posthumously got awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which could not have a wankier name if it tried, but I'm sure it's a good thing. I don't actually know what that means. I guess people are free. Is that like the key to the city? So, well, it's not Steve Jobs, not with us anymore, but maybe his wife just gets to walk into any room that they want. So they get to go in, and when the Bidens are in the bath, he gets to go in and say hello. No, not a thing. But anyway, I thought that was pretty cool, because again, everyone that picks up one of these devices, and many of you use these, many of you use iPads, many of you use Macs. A lot of that stuff would not exist without Mr. Steve Jobs. And whatever you think of him personally, he had his foibles, but didn't we all? Most of those mad genius types are not the biggest people persons in the world, but he definitely did some good things. And the last bit of news here is that MacBook Pros. So there's been... It seems that people just love finding faults. And those people, those channels online where there's like, it's the end of the world. And the clickbait title will be, why you shouldn't buy the new MacBook Pro. And you're like, oh no, why shouldn't I? And it turns out that the new MacBook Pro, the model with the entry-level specs, so 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabyte SSD, has been proven that it has some slowdown issues with that drive. So some of the components that they use are different, and it turns out that the 256, the 512s and the 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes are all fine. The 256 are not, so they're finding that they're super slow. And by super slow, about the same speed as the M1. So if you were souping up to an M2 and you're expecting your boost, what a lot of people are saying now is, don't do it, you'll regret it. So just take that with a grain, a pinch, a shaker, a entire salt flat of salt. Just take it with some salt. So that's our news and notes for this week. We'll jump on into our feature topic in just a moment, but I do think we had a couple of questions here. So Jermaine Jacks, thank you for your question. What's the best auto tune for GarageBand? And do any professional artists use GarageBand to record that you know of? So first question, the auto tune that's built in, the pitch control in GarageBand is fine. It works okay. There are other third-party auto-tune apps. I don't use a whole lot of auto-tune, to be honest. And it really depends. It depends whether you want to use auto-tune as a way to correct your vocals, in which case the regular auto-tune here in GarageBand is fine, or if you want to use it more as an effect, in which case there is the official auto-tune app, and there's other apps that have tuning options. I'm sure folks like Jade Star, who focuses in on apps, might have some ideas for you, but the standard pitch control that we have here, the pitch correction, works pretty well. So the enhanced tuning button. So if we come into, say, a vocal here, just this pitch control, if you use lead vocals or if you use punchy presence, it's going to have a pitch control effect built in there, and it works fine. As far as people that use GarageBand, I mean, the definition of professional is someone who makes money from music. So technically, I'm a professional musician, which is a bit of a scary one. But no, there's a lot of people that make music in GarageBand. Primarily, it's used more for demos, I guess. So because Pro Tools is still kind of the industry standard for a digital audio workstation, a lot of people create their demos in GarageBand, and then may use Logic Pro or may use Pro Tools for their final mixing and mastering. That being said, there's probably people out there using GarageBand we don't even know about that are using it for their music, because the thing is, digital audio has kind of leveled out the playing field. The difference between a $100,000 tape-based and mixer and mixing desk-based recording studio and like a $500 4-track tape machine 20 years ago was quite significant. But these days, depends on the gear you use. Whatever you plug in, that's what's going to give you your quality. So if you grab yourself a Steinberg or a Focusrite or a PreSonus interface and you plug that into a Mac or a PC or an iPad or an iPhone, and whether you record on Logic Pro or Pro Tools or GarageBand, it's actually going to record the same stuff. So the only real difference is the amount of tracks that you can use and some of the plugins and effects and the quality audio processing you're getting from those other platforms. So yeah, I know that didn't really answer your question. There's a guy called Steve Lacey who makes all of his music on iPhone, and a lot of it in GarageBand. So check him out if you want some details. Yes, just don't record. Good tip here from Thomas. Don't record with the pitch control on, because it will add significant latency, significant delay when you're actually recording. Yeah, that was fun times back in the day. With the work in progress was very, very cool. We did have a question as well from Con. Can you increase or decrease volumes of certain sections? Sometimes some bits are louder and less than others. Yeah, and we'll dive into the vocal stuff now, basically. So we'll kind of answer this question. So I'll cover it because you asked about it. But yes, there's two ways to manage this. If you search Pete Johns automation or Pete Johns volume in YouTube, you'll find a bunch of videos on this. So the two main ways to do this are using clip gain, which means you split up your vocal track and then you can adjust the gain independently. So you've got your overall volume and then you've got your gain by different sections. And then you can also use automation, volume automation, and we'll show you both of those in just a minute. If I forget, please remind me and let me know. Still got a 4-track mixing board combo. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Use Logic and Cubase before GarageBand. And see, a lot of people go backwards. A lot of people go back the other way. I've been messing with the Veloco app. Yeah, I've heard good things about Veloco. I'm pretty sure Jade has covered Veloco before, and it's a good app. Yeah, using automation is really good because you're never going to get a nice flat vocal performance. The other thing to keep in mind is compression can be your friend. So compression is like an automated automation, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a moment. Let's just dive in, shall we? Should we just crack on and get into our vocal section here? So we're going to talk about recording vocals in GarageBand, specifically in GarageBand iOS, but the same kind of things apply whether you're on a Mac. Even if you're on BandLab or if you're on a PC running Cakewalk, it really doesn't matter. A lot of this vocal stuff is going to be across everything. But because this is GarageBand Weekly, we're going to talk about it in GarageBand iOS. So the first question I get asked, oh, there you go. Oh, Veloco's a subscription app. Okay. Sion's a big fan of Veloco. Yes, okay. Sion, a pure subscription app that doesn't give you any benefits or doesn't use like a subscription model like like what is it, the Loopy Pro, that you get to use forever for one price. Like, yeah, I just can't get behind it. There's some reverb. There was a really good EQ a while ago, and I can't even remember what it was called. And I won't throw the company under the bus, but they gave me a free version of it, and I tried it out, and then I realized that, yeah, to use the full version, it's a monthly subscription. And I don't know about you, but I ain't paying, even if $3 a month, which I think is what it was, $2.99 a month. That's $36 a year, if my maths is correct. $36 a year to use an EQ. LRC5 and LRC7 are free. So I declined. I politely declined. So there we go. Hello, Joe and Barry Glenn. G'day to Audible Video. I hope you are all doing well. All right, let's jump in to talking about some vocals. First question I often get, and we were just talking about it before with folks here, is can you use the built-in mic? Can you just use the internal mic? And the short answer is yes. The microphones that you get on your iPhones and your iPads are getting better and better, like by the year. So the microphones that this is the iPhone 12 Pro. The mic in this is really good. What you're seeing there displayed is the iPad 2020. So these are both kind of 2020 devices. And in 2020, we got some pretty decent upgrades to all of the microphones. So Apple call them studio quality mics. We know better than that. They're not actually studio quality, but they are a heck of a lot better than what you would think they are. So for your phone, there's a lot of people who literally create music by singing into their phone. Now, keep in mind that when you're doing this, you want to have a decent distance. You don't want to be yelling into here, just like a regular microphone. You don't want to be eating the microphone because you're going to sound like that. Same with your phone. Don't get off on there. Give it some distance. And particularly because here in GarageBand, the problem that we have these days is you used to be able to control this volume slider for your input gain. In their infinite wisdom, Apple took that away in a recent version of GarageBand. So now the only way to control the input gain if you're using a headset microphone or if you're using the microphone on your iPhone or iPad is to just vary the distance from the actual device. So keep that in mind. You can still use things like pop filters that we'll talk about in a moment, or use like a shield, or just get a bit of pantyhose or get something to hold, a bit of felt to hold in front of there if you're getting plosives and if you're getting popping sounds. So keep that in mind as well. And the other question I get is, can you just use my headset mic? Well, yeah. In fact, a lot of people, these things, the microphones on these dirty buds that you get from Apple with your iPads and your iPhones are actually better than they deserve to be. The microphone's actually there in the remote control, so it's that little pinhole. You can't even really see it here because it's very far away, but it's on that part there. So the way that you'll see a lot of people do this is that they'll hold the microphone just down below there. Don't do this. Again, don't sing directly into it, but if you just hold the microphone down there like that, and I usually just have the headphone plugged into my ear and the microphone here so that I can actually hear that. The other thing that some folks do is that they just use the other ear to monitor like this, and then they hold the microphone over this side. That can actually work even better because what you're doing when you're recording, this is like a whole recording rig in your hand, right? So this is your microphone and this is your headphones. Now, if you're recording using a USB mic or an audio interface that we'll talk about in a moment, you'll know that your microphone's here and your headphones are here. If you're using some nice closed back headphones, there's not going to be a whole lot of bleed, a lot of leakage of that audio, which means you're not going to pick that up in your microphone, which is good. Same with this, is the further away this can be to this, then the less bleed you're going to get in. And if you're laughing at this right now, I've done so many tracks where the backing vocals and sometimes even the lead vocals and the double vocals, I've just recorded on this. I then grab, my microphone and I grab my audio interface and I try to re-record them and they never sound as good. Sometimes capturing the moment with something basic will give you a better sound than trying to force it with something really good. So keep that in mind. It is always a good option to be able to have something handy. And again, like this could be your studio. Like at that point, that's really easy. The other thing I'll mention about that is noise. So you are going to pick up more background noise with these sort of microphones. They're more designed for speech. So when you're trying to throw music or vocals at them, you will get a little bit more noise. Put yourself in a walk-in closet. Put yourself under a blanket. Put yourself somewhere without a lot of hard reflective surfaces, because that's going to ruin your sound. Whether you're recording using a regular microphone or whether you're recording using the built-in microphone or the microphone on your headset. So I hope that helps you out a little bit with that. Can you use an iRig? I get this question a lot. The iRig devices, and we'll find one here. We'll just go over to my gear guide at studiolivetoday.com/gear, which I haven't even talked about. I should have led with that. Oh yes, go to the gear guide, studiolivetoday.com/gear, and check out all the stuff. But can you do it with an iRig? Well, here's the thing: you need something that actually has an XLR input. So if your device is one of those instrument inputs, so for instance, here's the iRig Stream Pro, and this will work because see how that's got a combo jack on there? It's got the ability to record via both the plug-in, a 1/4-inch jack, or an XLR connection. So that's going to work for you. Anything that has that XLR will work. If we go, say, to the iRig Pro HD, which is a guitar interface, this will not work. So there are, what the heck did it bring up there? Well, that's a video creator bundle. That's not what I asked for. Let's just go iRig HD2. That's right, it's not the Pro HD, it's the HD2. So if you go with something like a regular guitar interface, if you've only got a 1/4-inch connection, like this one, if that's what it looks like, no good. So you can't actually record a microphone through that. The reason being is that doesn't have a preamp in it. And the easiest way to explain this is that my first audio interface, serious audio interface that I used was the Steinberg UR12. There's a UR12. Oh, Steinberg have a new UR12. Ooh, it's orange. I thought it was about time they updated that one. It looks like it's exactly the same thing. Let's have a look at it. So I used to use this one, but look at this. Look at this sucker, folks. It's orange. So the difference here, so you can see there that this is the mic preamp. So that's where you plug in, that's where you use a XLR connector, one of these ones that goes in your microphone, plugs into your mic and plugs into that. And this, anything that's called an instrument or a high Z or a high Z input is not going to work for your mic. I know I spent a lot of time just talking about that and explaining that now, but I'm often surprised by how many folks say, I plugged my microphone in, I'm getting really low levels. It's not coming through. I'm not getting the sound quality I want. It needs to have a preamp. Preamp does exactly what it sounds like. It pre-amplifies the signal. So if you're getting low levels, you're probably not going through a good quality preamp, and you need to grab yourself an audio interface or a USB microphone. So once you've gone past the whole, okay, I'm going to record vocals with either my headset mic or my built-in mic, if you want to go up a notch, you go to a USB microphone. Now, there's a heap of different USB microphones on the market. The one that I recommend and have recommended for a long time for a good budget entry-level USB mic for your recording is, I've got to find it now, is the Samson Meteor. If we scroll down here to microphones and USB microphones, so the bunch here, the Samson CO1's good, the Behringer C1's pretty good, the Blue Yeti's kind of the industry standard, but I love this little tacker, mostly because it looks like a little Space Wars? Star Wars robot. It looks like, what's that robot called? R2-D2 or C3PO. Oh my God, the Star Wars people are going to come at me, aren't they? But yeah, it's a very nice look. Oh, look at this. It's actually it's usually $69.99. So this is a brilliant buy right now. If you're looking for a good quality, versatile microphone, it's a bit long in the tooth now. It uses micro USB, as you can see there, but got a headphone jack on there. You've got control over your monitoring levels there. It's just a convenient and handy little microphone. You can see it comes in a sexy little pouch there. Got the cable, got the mic. So this thing goes with me in my backpack all the time, and it just means wherever I am, and look, 4.5 stars on Sweetwater. Sweetwater folks don't mess around. They don't like things unless they like them. So yeah, if you're looking for a USB microphone, that is the option to go with. What is a tacker? A tacker is a little tacker. So it's an Australian word for a child. So what would you say? A squirt? A little squirt in America? Or you'd say a little dude? I don't know. What do you say? What do you call? What's a nice word for a little kitty? A little tacker. There you go. R2-D2. Thank you, Con. I knew the Star Wars folks would not be happy with me. All right. I'm going to buy that orange Steinberg now. That's really cool. A rug tat. There you go. Yeah, rugrat. Rug tat? Or is it rugrat? Yeah, little rugrat. Little tacker. That's the same sort of thing. Yeah, rugrat. It's spot on. All right, where are we at to? So preamp. So audio interface with a preamp. So what I've done, let's get into some practical stuff, because theory's all fine and dandy, but let's get into the practical stuff. So here's something I prepared earlier. This is my track that I created in GarageBand. You may have heard it if you've been hanging around the channel. It's a song called Imagination. It sounds a bit like this. Now, the original vocals that I recorded for this song were recorded using this microphone, which is my AKG D5 microphone, and they were recorded through my Steinberg UR22C audio interface, which is very similar to the one we just saw before. And they sounded a little something like this.
Sometimes I sit around and wonder how it is I got here and if I'm going under all the complications of my life.
Now, there's a lot of effects and a lot of processing on there, as you can hear, so we'll turn those off as we go through. But what I want to do, I can embarrass myself here because we can hear the noise floor on this, and we can get a bit of a feel for the quality of this. Look, you can see that's probably me coughing there. So this is the good and the bad part of non-destructive audio and editing, is that you can go back in time and you can listen to Pete breathing and waiting to come in. So let's see what this sounds like. Yep, there's the breathing. Cough. What the heck was that? Oh, that was me closing the door. That's cool. I forgot. I didn't realize. I haven't looked at this bit of audio in a long time. So there, shut the door. Shut the front door. Check that out. That scared me. Shut that door. Sounds like a gunshot.
Sometimes I sit around and wonder how it is I got here and if I'm going under all the complications of my life.
So pretty good, yeah? Like there's a pretty low level noise floor there when you play the background noise. There's almost nothing there. So that's our baseline here. Now, what I did before the show here is I came in. Now, there's a little section here where I play some backing vocals, and these were also recorded using that same mic setup. So here's the chorus vocals where we come in from the verse into the chorus.
Round and round in my head. Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination. Nations warring, everything is...
So that was the backing vocals originally. So what I did is to show you the quality differences here. And I've never done this before. People have asked me to do this for ages, and I finally get around to it. So I recorded firstly using the internal mic and then the headset mic. And then we're going to record again right here in my reasonably noisy studio using this regular mic. And we're going to compare the difference. Now, the problem with the internal mic was that when I recorded this audio, I didn't record... There you go. I recorded a bit of audio afterwards. I didn't have a pair of headphones I could plug in that don't have a mic. So here's a trap for young players. If you want to use the built-in mic, which is usually slightly better than your headset mic, you need a pair of headphones that don't have a microphone. And I had one pair left and they've gone missing. So I need to jump onto eBay and buy myself a cheap pair of $5 headphones that don't have a mic. It's actually getting harder and harder to find headphones that are just a standard TRS connection, not a TRRS, don't have the headset mic. So, but if you do have one of these, so most people will have a Lightning-based iPhone or a USB-C based iPad, you'll need to get yourself one of these little jacks. And yes, here in Australia, they're 15 clams. I think they're $10 in the US and Canada and probably 10 quid. They're not super expensive, but they're annoyingly expensive that you have to buy them. But if you plug in regular headphones into this, what should happen is it should still allow your internal microphone to play back. And of course, if you've got an older device like the old iPad Air 2 or an iPhone 6S, you can just use the regular headphone jack for regular headphones, which is pretty cool. So that's the basis for this internal mic. Let's take a listen, shall we, to what this sounds like. So if we go from my nice studio quality microphone into this internal mic,
going round and round and round and round in my head. Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination. Nations warring, everything is burning.
Now, what are some problems there? Well, because I wasn't using headphones to monitor, you can hear bleed. So this is when we talk about bleed. And again, it's surprising how many people, when you're starting out, you just don't even think about these things, that you need to be wearing headphones when you're playing back audio. Otherwise, your microphone, regardless of what microphone you're using, is going to pick up that bleed. It's going to pick up that audio playing back. So let's listen to just this track and you'll hear what I mean.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
And I'll show you some tips in a moment about maybe some ways that we can remove that, especially when I'm not actually singing there. We can use a noise gate, and we can use an app called Bruce Free if you want to spend a bit of coin. Let's now take a listen to the headset mic. So this is going to be our next level up, where we don't have to worry about that bleed, because we can use the microphone directly on our headset, and we can get rid of that noise and then get a decent quality signal. But you can see here the actual level of it is going to be a little bit quieter. Let's just take a listen to this version.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
Yeah, it's all right. It does a decent job there, but you can tell the difference between something like this. Let's just give this one. So this is the original version. Let's listen to the noise floor before I start singing on the microphone that I'm using here with an audio interface.
Don't always believe.
Almost nothing there, right? And then if you compare that to the noise that you get from an internal mic or from your headset mic.
Don't always believe.
Yeah, so you can really hear that coming in there. Now, there's a couple of ways to improve that. Okay, I told you we're going to talk tips and techniques here. There are a couple of ways to improve that. Number one is to jump in here and use your noise gate. So the noise gate is built in here to GarageBand. And what the noise gate does is it says, it's a gate. It says only let audio through when it reaches this certain threshold or a certain volume. So what we can do is we can play back this audio now, and we can try and find the point at where we can start hearing the actual vocals. So let's play this and we'll fiddle with this noise gate.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Just imagine.
All right, so it's around about that minus 15, minus 14 dB. So what we need to do is we need to play back this audio, make sure that when I'm actually singing, we can hear the audio, but that it turns it down when there's nothing playing. So let's play it again.
Don't always
See how it cut off the very start there? We may need to bring it down another couple of dB. So we may hear a little background noise now.
Don't always believe.
And that's the problem, is when you actually use a noise gate, it can often cut off the start. So you either have to be really aggressive and it can cut off the start, or
don't always believe.
Or you need to go down further, and then you're actually going to hear that background audio.
Don't always believe.
That's about the sweet spot, isn't it, actually, down there? Whereas if we bring the threshold all the way down, you're going to hear.
Don't always believe.
Okay, so it's actually more up there because it's a quieter signal. It's more about around there. So that will actually work well. And then when we get to the end of that bit, you'll hear the noise gate kick in again and it will cut it out. Watch this.
It's just imagination.
Hear that? It cuts it off. So the noise gate here in GarageBand is either on or off. Now, if you want a better noise gate, Nembrini actually make a noise gate that has both a threshold and a gain knob. So you can actually do both of these things. I won't show it in detail here because we're going to run way out of time. But if you download it, I've got a video here on the channel. It's called the NA Analog Rack Noise Gate. It is free. And the only difference here is that you got two dials. You got threshold, which does the same thing, and then you got range. So what that means is instead of the gate being open and closed, the gate's left ajar. So it means it doesn't remove, you don't get that unnatural on-off sound. It kind of just lowers the volume when it hits the threshold. So there's a tip for you there, the Nembrini Analog Rack Noise Gate. So there's ways that you can actually help that out. The other way to help your vocal, and that's the freeway, right? It's the freeway, the highway. It's my way or the freeway. It's my way or the highway. The more expensive but more effective way is to use an app called Bruce Free. Bruce Free is amazing. Whether you're doing videos or the vocals for videos, for presentations, for your songs, whether you've got noisy like hums in the background of your guitars, whatever it is. I had some friends who recorded a video and it was raining. It was pouring with rain and there was this horrible rain background noise and they were having this conversation. They were recording like for a university assignment and they needed to hear it. And then they listened back to the audio and they couldn't hear anything. So I threw Bruce Free on it and look, it wasn't perfect, but yeah, you went from not being able to hear anything but the rain to just having a slight rain background. So Bruce Free is amazing and I'm going to demonstrate it for you now. Let's turn this one off. We'll get rid of that noise noise gate. Again, that's your free option. And we'll come in here and we'll go to audio unit extensions. And this is it. It's Bruce Free from Clevergrand, who are a wonderful Swedish producer of apps and plugins. And it's a standalone app too, so you can use this with your videos by just using the standalone app. But the beautiful thing is you can add it as an AUV3 plugin onto GarageBand, Cubase, Audio Pro, whatever you want to use it with. So let's play this audio. You can remember, we'll turn it up a little bit here so you can hear this horrible background noise.
Don't always be...
Not good, yeah? And here's the thing, Bruce Free, the reason I've got that lead in audio there is Bruce Free samples your background noise and then it adds some filtering to remove as much of that as it can. And it's very, very simple a process to do. So we just tap on the Bruce Free button here. We just need to hit this learn button. So we need to play the audio, hold down on the learn for at least 1 or 2 seconds, release it, and then that should reduce the background noise. Let's give it a try, shall we? We'll hit play and then hit the ear.
Don't always believe the things in your...
Hit done. Take a listen to the difference here. This is that same piece of audio now with Bruce Free Apply, which took us, what, 3 seconds.
Don't always believe...
Once again, let's A-B it. Here it is without Bruce Free. Sounds like this.
Don't always believe...
And let's listen to it with Bruce Free applied.
Don't always believe the things in your head.
Right? So it does turn the volume down a little bit because it will remove some of those audio frequencies. So if you're an absolute audiophile, well, you're probably not going to be using your headset mic. You'll have a microphone and an audio interface. But at a pinch, if you have to use something like your audio, like your earbuds, or if you need to use a built-in mic and you're getting that hiss, that background noise, then throwing Bruce Free on there can actually really help it out and really remove that noise. Let's just try it one more time with this internal mic because it doesn't do as good a job with bleed, with that background noise that we're getting with the track, but it does okay. Now this time I don't have enough lead in there, so I'll have to use the end section here. So let's do the same thing with this one. We're going to edit on this track. We'll remove that effect EQ that usually doesn't do much, and we'll add in Bruce Free. Let's hit the ear button again, and hit play, and then hit the ear. All right, so that time we sampled it, and we only had a little bit there to sample, but we wanted to try and remove that background bleed noise. So let's play this back and listen.
Just imagination.
So you can still hear that there's a little bit of bleed coming through there, but nowhere near as much. And why this is better than a noise gate is a noise gate doesn't do anything while the audio is playing. It literally just tries to remove background noise when the audio is not playing, so it doesn't muddy up your tracks. What this does is it actually removes that even during the audio. So that's the difference. It's adding a filter to it as opposed to just turning it off and on. So let's play this whole section again, and you'll hear that with Bruce Free on.
Don't always believe the things in your head.
It's slightly there, but not as much as without Bruce Free, where it sounds like this.
Don't always believe.
What a difference, right? No, Bruce Free on. Get this.
Don't always believe.
Without Bruce Free, one more time, sounds like this.
Don't always believe.
So even if you get that background bleed, and Con was mentioning your click track. If you're getting click track bleed, Bruce Free can help with that. Now, it won't solve it, but if you've got a section where it's just the click track, it'll sample that frequency and it should remove it. Now, Bruce Free also has a bunch of advanced settings in here, so you can actually change all of the settings. So when you hit the ear, it basically dials in all of this filtering, and you can just leave it as it is, or you can tweak that if you want to try. I honestly very rarely tweak any of the settings. I normally just use the ear, and we've got complete videos about Bruce Free here on the channel if you want to check those out. So you can see here that being able to record these in together, now if we bring these two vocals in, they're actually going to sound half decent.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
Nations warring, everything is burning.
Pretty cool, yeah? If we bring all these, so if we mute out these original backing tracks that we had here, we spread these out to the left and right like we had there, so we can get some nice spread. We'll pan that one left, we'll pan this one right, we'll make them swim in reverb and echo, which is what my original ones were doing. and we bring this back into our overall track, it's going to sound pretty darn good. It's going to sound pretty close to that original that I was using with a microphone, but again, we're just using free stuff, or basically free stuff, our headset mic or our internal mic. Let's take a listen.
Thoughts still going round and round and round and round in my head.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
Nations warring, everything is...
Now, we need to do some EQing. We need to play around with some things there to get that happening as well. So I think that's pretty darn cool. Let's give you a few more tips here around microphones. Microphones themselves, in terms of the ones that I recommend over on my gear guide, you'll be able to check out. We already talked USB microphones, but my microphones for my mobile setup, you can see here, I use the AKG D5, which is this one here that I have in my hand. When I'm doing desktop stuff, I use that as well, but the other one I like is the Audio-Technica AT2020. Now, this one is a dynamic mic. This is better for vocals. This is better if you've got a noisy background, because it's going to reject your background noise. It's not going to pick up as much background noise, but therefore it's not going to pick up as much detail. So if you're like me, if you're a big loud mouth and you like to rock out and sing, I recommend a dynamic microphone. If you are if you've got a quieter voice, or you want to do some finger style acoustic guitars, things like that, you probably want to get yourself something like this, the AT2020 from Audio-Technica. It is a cardioid condenser microphone, and that's going to require phantom power, which almost all of your audio interfaces and all your mixers and everything else will have. So that's your other option there, either the I like this one, and of course you can use Shure SM58s, SM57. There's a bunch. Shure, what is the one that a lot of folks like? The one that all the podcasters use, the $400 one. Yeah, I've forgotten. SMB, SM7B. So yeah, there's a heap of options for microphones, but around about the $100 mark is kind of your price point. What I've found over time is that I always use this comparison. It's kind of like wine. When you're using a microphone, if you're buying the difference between a $20 microphone and a $100 microphone, or a $50 and a $100, is significant. Once you go from 100 to 200, 300, 400, 500, it's incremental. And for the average home studio musician, you're not going to notice a whole lot of difference. A bit like wine. The difference between a $5 bottle of Plonk and a $20 bottle is worlds apart. But you have to have a pretty good palate to really tell the difference between a $20 bottle and a $100 bottle. It's kind of the same sort of thing with microphones. The Beta 58 is a good one as well. A lot of good microphones from Shure. There you go. Mark uses the same. And again, if you've got $200 burning a hole in your pocket right now, go out, jump on the gear guide, grab yourself the Audio-Technica AD2020, and grab yourself the AKG D5 or a Shure SM58. Does kind of the same thing. They're both very good quality microphones. And again, most people, Gossip's wine gives my missus heartburn. Gossip's is not bad. They do a good, is it Sav Blanc? Yeah, I think the Sauvignon Blanc, the Gossip Sav Blanc is quite nice. Anyway, I prefer cheap wine. From a box, Weary Pirates. Wine from a box. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with it. All right, what else do we have here? Pops. So you've got to mind your P's and Q's, and you've got to mind your pops. So I use, as you can see here, I use this Fuzzy Wuzzy. Now this is one option. Oh, it's getting a bit spitty there. I'm obviously getting a bit passionate here. So this is one option for your microphone. What you can tell is the difference between me here is that when I'm popping my P's, if I was talking into this microphone without its little sheath here, then you're going to get a whole lot of that breathiness, and you're going to get a whole lot of those popping P's. So I use one of these this is going to sound terrible as I do it, to reduce that down. And I could have an entire pop filter here, but I just like the look of this a bit better. So I sacrifice a little bit. Occasionally you'll get a popping plosive come through, but it does a pretty darn good job. So if you're using a handheld mic like this, a little Fuzzy Wuzzy, you can pick them up for about $3 to $5 at most of your music stores or on your Amazons or other things via the gear guide here. The other option is to use a pop filter, so often called a pop screen as well. And if we go to my master list here and scroll on down to all the stuff that I use, I've got to find what I call it here. Pop filter. I don't have it in my master list. It must be down below here in the also rans. They're not important enough. They are super important, but there they are. They're not important enough to make the list. So there's different types you can get. You can get cloth ones. You can get metallic ones. This one, it's currently unavailable. So this one is one that I recommend, the MXL. It's like a nice mesh one there. It's a little bit more expensive. It's usually about $20 to $30 there. You can see I bought one back in 2019, and I still use that quite regularly. The other option you have is a cheaper one, something like a mesh-based pop filter like this. You would have seen these around around. About $10. It's got a goose arm thing there. It's got a clip to go onto your mic stand or your desk or wherever you go, and you stand in front of it and you yell into your microphone while stroking your salt and pepper beard. Ooh, yeah. Uh, or why is she using it sideways? What the? Don't do that. It looks like she's under surveillance. That's a weird looking microphone. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, pop filters for the win. Go there. Got a whole pack of about 6 of those mic covers at Amazon for less than $10. Yeah. And yeah, if you come into Amazon and you go microphone pop shield or pop foam, I think is what you have to search for those ones. Yeah, there you go. So look at that, 5-pack for $4.99, 6-pack for $6.99. So they're not expensive and they are super handy. No, don't leave home without them. They are very, very handy. That's my main aim, Jade, is to make you laugh. So I'm glad I succeeded there. Got to have fun. What do we keep saying? Music's got to be fun, folks. There's a lot of BS going on in the world right now. Let's let music be fun. All right, so pop filter is important. Mic technique. The only thing I'll say about mic technique is don't eat your microphone. Like, you know those things where you see, where the man loves a woman? And like Joe Cocker's like eating the microphone. That works when you've got really good engineers, really good gear, and you've got Joe Cocker's magic sweat dripping into the microphone. If you don't have all those things, give yourself some distance, because if you start right up here, and to the point, and we'll return to the automation, because I did promise we'd talk that as well, but give yourself the best possibility for mixing your vocals properly. And the difference is that if you start up there, that every time you go away, you're going to get this wavering sound. If you start out here, then even if you move away a bit or even a bit closer, the distance variation is going to be lower. And you're also not going to get what's called the proximity effect, which is where you get that really boomy sound. Now, if you want that, so if you want to sound like a radio DJ, you just get right up on the mic and you go, hey, girl. But if you don't want that, if you don't want that boominess in your vocal, which you wouldn't if you were singing like a pop song or if you were singing a high melody, then you want to make sure you've got some distance from the microphone. It's also going to remove your plosives. It's also going to give you less S's. If you're a suffering succotash lisper like me, all those things are going to help. So just get away. Get away from your microphone. A bit like people tend to turn things up too much. I'm like, turn it down. If in doubt, turn it down. If in doubt, get further away. It's easier to slowly adjust and bring yourself closer if you're finding you're getting too much background noise or echo or not enough volume. But it's almost impossible to fix something when you overblow it and you're too close and you do it. Mic technique, compression. All right, let's talk about processing the vocals. So if we jump in, not that, back over to here. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind when you're looking at vocals. So let's look at this one here. We'll focus in on this little ditty here.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
So we'll use this one to have a look at what we want to do. So there's a couple of things that you want to keep in mind here. Compression on your vocals is one of the most important things. So let's turn the compressor off. In fact, let's turn everything off. We'll leave Bruce free on, otherwise we're going to get that background noise. Let's turn absolutely everything off. What accent was that? Turn absolutely everything off, and then we'll hit the play button here.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
So you can see there that I'm going up and down. So yeah, this is a vocal that is a little bit sort of varied. Now, what a compressor does, if you haven't used compression before, a compressor it reduces, it compresses the peaks of your volume, and then you use makeup gain, or in the case of some compressors, automatic makeup gain, to bring the volume back up again. You can use the default compressor here, but I'm going to see if we can grab, there's a compressor that I like. We'll turn the enhanced tuning off. I'm not going to have any auto tune on this one. See if I can remember the channel strip. Yeah, channel strip from Audio Damage is a good little plug-in here, and it has a compressor built in. And the good thing about this compressor, when you turn it on, is it gives you this metering, so you'll actually see what the compression does. So let's play this now.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
So you can see there, because our threshold is all the way up here, that line there, it's not doing any compressing. So, and again, this is exactly the same way. This has got threshold and ratio, and you can use the stock one. Or I think Channel Strip's only about a $3 plugin. It's totally worth it. But if we play this again, what I'll do is I'll bring that threshold down, and you'll see where the peaks start going over that threshold, and they're the bits that once we adjust the ratio are going to actually compress. So let's play it again.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
All right, so you can see there at that level, we're going to start to shave off some of those peaks there, right? So I'll just show you that again.
Don't always believe the things in your head.
So you're not hearing any difference at the moment, but when we start adding the ratio, that's going to tell it how much to turn down when we actually add these in here. So I'm actually going to go a little bit more extreme. We're going to bring this threshold down just so that you sort of see how this works. And now when we adjust the ratio, it'll actually start leveling out those peaks in the volume.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
So as you add this, and then you've got your attack and your release here, which you can start adjusting. And we won't go into details of attack and release here. You've also then got your makeup gain. So what you'll find is as you add compression, your volume will go down because you're actually compressing those higher peaks. And again, you can see the bits we're putting down can turn it up.
Sometimes it's just imagination.
And see how you're getting that line at the bottom there? That's actually showing the compression that's being applied. So we're now actually seeing both the threshold, we're seeing where it's peaking above that threshold, and at the bottom section there, if you look closely, you'll see where the compression's being added.
Don't always believe the things in your head. Sometimes it's just imagination.
The reason that it's not doing it every time it goes above is this attack. Because if you want a really fast attack, that means that every time it goes over there, it's instantly going to compress. So if we come back here, I'll show you what that means. So with a really fast attack on this one, we play it.
Don't always believe
See that?
the things in your head.
As we slow the attack,
it's just imagination.
as we slow the attack, it actually doesn't go straight away. And then, so the faster the attack, the more often it's going to compress, the more makeup gain you'll need generally when you're compressing. So again, if we play this without the compression, it's going to be kind of lumpy and kind of up and downy here.
Don't always believe the things in your head.
Turn the compression on.
Sometimes it's just imagination.
It just gives you that more consistent kind of level there. So your compressor is going to be handy, and it's a good way to sort of automate your vocal. There is also automation. So automation is the act of turning the volume on the track up and down automatically throughout the track. To access that, we tap directly here on the icon. Don't tap out here. That won't work. That's a different menu over here. Tap on the icon itself, hit the automation button, and then we can start adding in automation points. So on the top left, you slide this sucker on, and then if we wanted to say this part's too loud, we can tap in a spot there, tap in there, and then what I want to do is after this section, I actually want the volume to go down. So I'm going to tap another spot there. I'm going to zoom in by spreading my two fingers here, and I'm going to find the point here where I want this to actually reduce. So after that line there, I want it to go down. So I want the volume to drop there. And what you're going to see, I'm going to do it dramatically here. You wouldn't probably do it this dramatically, but I'm going to do that just so that you can see that when we play this back now, you see how we've got this line here in the background and the volume control's gone yellow? That means that it's going to actually change. So watch the volume as we go through here.
Don't always believe the things in your head.
There you go. So it drops down that volume. So you can then come in here, you can add as many automation points as you want. So you can move it up and down where you want there. You can even use automation. It's a good thing if you've got really loud breath sounds in there, you can turn that back on and you can say tap, I call it the triangle of delight, because of course I do. Because we're getting a bit blue here today. So you turn that on, and then once you've added your points, turn it back off, because otherwise you'll add more points all the time. And then you drop it down, and that way whenever you have a breath in your audio, I don't put it all the way to the bottom. I kind of put it to there, because I think it sounds unnatural to completely turn the volume down. But if you take a listen now,
Don't always believe.
That wasn't a breath. That was just a gap. So that's not where you'd actually put that. But you can see there, if that was a breath, it would work really well. And I use automation quite often. If compression doesn't do the job, if you've still got lumpy audio that's too loud in some parts, too soft in others, then using a little automation is the way to go. So that's some vocal tips for you. Use what you have. Use your built-in mic, use your headset mic, use the noise gate if you're getting lots of noise, use Bruce Free if you've got a few dollars to spend on that. It's a handy app. I've never spoken to anyone that bought Bruce Free and regrets it. So go for it. USB microphones are good. Audio interfaces, all my recommendations are over on the Gear Guide. Make sure you get a good preamp in audio interface that you use. Check out the microphones that I have recommended. Dynamic microphone if you've got a lot of noise and you're recording loud stuff. Condenser microphone if you don't have a noisy environment and are recording quiet stuff. And then use a pop filter and make sure you're not eating the mic. And then use your compression and your automation to balance out that volume when you've done your recording. It's going to help you out. Corona Wire says, I've started adding Apple's free high-pass filter on every mic track. Yeah, that's actually a good tip. We're going to go overtime here, by the way. Someone let Rock and Ronnie Ward know we're going to be eating into his time here because I haven't done any other sections. But if you come in here, the other option you have here is you can, if you're finding that you're getting a lot of low noise and rumble, there is actually a free high-pass filter here. So if we go to plugins and EQ and we come in here and let's just remove this overdrive and we'll add in here under audio unit extensions. If you scroll down over here to the very bottom on this right hand side, you've got all these Apple ones, which a lot of folks don't know about. I've done a video on them before, but you've got a high pass filter here, which is actually really handy because what you can do is you can set this high pass filter down here and then you can say, let's go everything under 200 hertz. We're just going to filter off. So this means only stuff above there is going to come through. So if this is a vocal track, you shouldn't have any sounds that are that low down. You should only have stuff up here. So if you're living on a busy road, you got like truck rumbles, or you got like vibrations, or you got that horrible low 60 cycle hum that you get sometimes from like being near a microwave or being near a Wi-Fi router. Yeah, use this. That's going to get rid of that low end noise quite nicely. So there you go. Thank you, Joe and Barry. The high-pass filter is awesome on guitar. Yeah, on guitar, the high-pass filter works a treat because a lot of the time your guitar sounds are ruined by that rumble that's usually down around 60 hertz or 50 hertz, depending what sort of power you use in your part of the world. But yeah, very, very handy indeed. All right, let's move on. I'm gonna do the rest of these really quickly, and I'm gonna apologise to Randy Motz, who's also known as Wind Talker. We were going to talk today about live streaming setups, and I was going to show my streaming setup and try and answer his question. We're going to have to bump that again to another show, so I apologise for that, Randy. But he was asking the question that a lot of people have been asking lately, which is how do you set up so that you can do something like this, like a Zoom call or a live stream, and incorporate your music setup as well? And it's really difficult because there's a concept called mix minus that usually ruins everything. There's the problem that you can't really send one device to another unless you've got two devices. So the reason I use an audio interface and a mixer is that to send between two devices, your iPhones and your iPads don't really have a good quality input jack. They've got a TRRS connection, which is done via the Lightning connection, and that's only mono microphone audio in. So the reason that you can't connect a stereo thing to another stereo thing is because it's not there. So you do need audio interfaces. So we will talk about that in more detail in a future show. So apologies again to Randy. We will get there. We will get there in a while. Let's have a quick rant. We're live on Facebook right now, so block your ears, Facebook. People complain a lot about the YouTube content ID system, and look, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. Like as you may know, if I play a cover song of someone's song, it'll identify that, it'll put a copyright claim on there, and I have to share the revenue. If I play someone else's song outright that has YouTube content ID on there, then I get a copyright claim, and any revenue from that video goes to them. Now that only applies if you've got a monetized channel. On Facebook, I'm not even monetized at all. I honestly don't care about that, but I do stream my stuff to Facebook. I used to stream pretty much everything. I used to do Your Music Live and the Happy Hour and this show to Facebook. I've stopped doing the Happy Hour. I've stopped doing Your Music Live because I kept getting copyright claims. My audio got muted. The videos got removed. It was just not fun. Looks like the happy hour is going to go the same way. So unfortunately, Facebook does not allow you to play music if it's a cover song of someone else's song on their platform. So I surrender. I give in. Facebook, you win, and I won't be streaming my live shows to Facebook anymore, which is weird because it's kind of bizarre. Twitch doesn't seem to care. Twitch has a weird system that basically, unless I'm sitting there playing a Beyonce record back to back, they're not really going to care. If it's not the original audio, they don't care because so many people play covers of so many songs. YouTube's kind of the same, except they have their content ID thing that jumps in there and says, hey, you played this song, this song, this song, this song. We've informed the relevant authorities and they're going to take a cut. I'm like, yep, cool. You do you. But Facebook just seems to be like, meh, you played a song, meh. So, so I've decided that we're going to step away from that. I think, Facebook is fine. I've always said, Facebook is good because of the Facebook groups. And groups like Create, Record, Release, GarageBand Users, iPad Musician, iPhone Musician, we all rise together. The Mike's Cakewalk group from Creative Source. They're all great groups. But I must admit, every time my feed starts venturing outside of that and starts showing me other things, I'm just like, nope, rein it in. I just want to hear about music. So use it for music. But as Thomas says, yes, lame-o for live streaming. So let's not go there. I got a couple of questions this week, and I'll touch on these really quickly because, again, we're going to run over time. We kind of covered it in that section about vocals, but I got two separate questions, and they're both kind of the same thing. They're both people that exported songs from GarageBand, put them onto other platforms, and they didn't sound the way that they wanted to. And the short version of that is GarageBand has auto normalization, which I know many of us really don't enjoy, and you do need to master your tracks coming out of GarageBand. They will sound different when you just export them, and then especially if you then upload them, because here's the problem. Most people have their tracks too loud. So most people have their overall volume of their tracks too loud, and the number one problem I see people having when they're exporting their tracks is that the overall volume is way too loud. That causes a couple of things. It causes that pumping sound, especially in your low end. So if your drums and your bass in particular are too loud, you get that pumping sound, and it can also then engage the limitation and the auto normalization that will turn down the overall volume. And it does it indiscriminately, in that it'll turn down everything, which means it'll get your bass and your drums to the right level, but it means that things like your guitars and your vocals that may have sounded okay playing back in GarageBand will not sound right. It'll just sound completely washed out and overdone. So here's this track that I've got in GarageBand. I'll just play a little bit of this. And what you'll notice there is, like, someone that's started in GarageBand will be like, man, your volume levels are down really low and your overall master volume is really low. Yeah, that's kind of where it needs to be. The problem is that GarageBand by default sets everything up here. Let's just let's have some fun here, and we'll just move everything. Oh, it's not working with the double tap. There you go. You have to use your finger. Remember that, folks. You've got to use your finger. So if we just made all these back as loud as GarageBand kind of wants them, it's a mess. And see how it starts peaking up here? You get into this yellow and red, and this is with me having this master volume trick on. So this master volume hack is kind of the key thing. If I didn't have this on, this is reducing everything by 5 or 10 dBs. And if you're not aware of this, search Pete John's master track hack, and there's a video showing how to do this. But if I had this at 0, take a listen to what it would sound like if I used GarageBand's recommended volumes. Like, see how it's staying up there? Anytime you get those little leave behinds, it's too loud. And too many folks, I've got their projects and they're like, I just don't understand what I'm doing wrong. And I come in here and that meter is just sitting at the top there the whole time. And I'm like, it's like Huey Lewis from Back to the Future. It's like, sorry guys, it's just too darn loud. So turn it down. That's my main thing. Turn it down. And until the day that GarageBand, and we can hope and pray, we can throw our thoughts and prayers, right, Thomas Christ, towards GarageBand, that one day they will give us an option. Because here's the thing. GarageBand Mac has a slider. You can turn off and on auto normalization. GarageBand iOS does not have that slider. It is not cool. We need it in there, right? Yeah, exactly. When you bring it into Logic or even into GarageBand Mac, you'll see how bad it is. You'll see what's been applied in the background. It is not good at all. It doesn't work. If anyone has any final questions, we are over time already, and we're going to skip over the other things that we're going to talk about. Okay, I'll show this. I'll tell you this really quickly, but we don't really have time to show it. But you folks are smart and you'll work it out. I just wanted to mention that I've done videos before about converting video to audio, and something really cool is that BandLab Mobile actually can allow you to import. If you start a new project, you can import video files and it will convert them to audio automatically. So if you're looking for a simple way to grab your videos and turn them into audio for whatever reason, say you did a video of a live gig and you want just the audio to bring in and maybe tweak it and adjust something, if you use this one, so if we come in here and open the studio, if we go to import a track, what you can do is you can use your photo library, your music library, or more. Now, normally I'd go to more and I'd go into my files there and I'd find it. I'm just going to jump over here. I'm going to hit photo library. I just want to make sure there's nothing in these photos that's going to be embarrassing. I mean, there's stuff that's going to be embarrassing, but nothing that's going to be embarrassing to other people. No, they're all just me looking like a Gumby. That's right. We can show it. Not that. All right. So what we could do is we can actually grab any of these videos and we can bring it in there. So I don't even remember what I'm doing in these videos, but I'm probably saying something from some other example of something. So if I tap on one of these, there's the video. I can play it. Oh, it's not playing properly because of the setup I have here. Let's just hit use. Because of the connection through connection, it's not working there. But what you can see here is it grabs that video and it converts it directly into an audio file right here in BandLab Mobile, which is pretty darn handy. If we hit play. Oh, why did I put that there? Stop. Get away. Yes, stop. All right.
So it's really cool that your iPhone or your iPad can allow you to plug in a microphone.
What a success.
Audio interface. And the problem is, if you're using a two-channel interface.
We do have this problem. This is a problem with my setup here where I'm going out. So GarageBand loves my setup and it works perfectly. Works brilliantly with GarageBand for its audio. But BandLab Mobile, for whatever reason, because I'm going out via both HDMI and via my audio interface, it kind of has kittens sometimes. So sometimes it fixes it up if we just come back in here and play there. And then come back to BandLab. But trust me, I tried this before and it works fine. Let's just see, do I sound like I'm underwater? There it is. All right, so it's fixed it. So yeah, it's just about my monitoring. So if we play this is the audio from that video.
It's really cool that your iPhone or your iPad can allow you to plug in a microphone using an audio in.
So yeah, so that was from when we were talking about audio interfaces and plugging in. So yeah, it's just a handy thing because something like GarageBand doesn't allow you to do this. And then of course, if you just want to save this out, if we save this project, you can come out here to your projects and grab this one, the one that we've just created there, tap on it, and you can download it. So the one thing to keep in mind is it's only compressed audio, so it won't convert it to a WAV file, it'll convert it to an M4A compressed audio file. So yeah, if you just want a quick way to grab some audio from a video, throw it in if you're sampling something, or if you're using something, or if you're grabbing something from YouTube and you want to use it in your songs, then that's an easy way to do it because you can couple that with your screen recorder and I think you realize where you can go with that. The sky, as they say, is the limit. Can you raise volume over or export volume using the peak limiter? My mix are too quiet. Yeah, you can. So I've got a video here. Search for my video about free mastering with GarageBand. What I basically do is I export the track. Or first of all, I use the master track hack to turn the volume down. I export that track and then I bring it back into GarageBand and throw on the peak limiter. There's also the other video that I've done recently because we worked out that, where was it? There's a little tip you can use here. So, master track. I'm just going to try and find it now. So there's the one with the master track hack there, but there's one that we did where, man, it's sad when you can't remember your own videos, but there's a way to change the master volume there. But what you basically do is you can make a really loud sound somewhere in your track, and then that kind of tricks the auto normalization to thinking that's the loudest point, and then it turns the volume of everything else down. So you can use that as well, but yeah, short version is you can totally do that. You can totally use the the peak limiter to turn down your volume. I think we've covered everything. I know we talked a lot more about vocals than I intended to, but I think it's an important one. I think a lot of people are looking to get the best quality sound from their vocals. So regardless of what you got, hopefully that helped you out. The only thing to mention is that our resource of the week is my GarageBand FAQ. So if you go to Studio Live today, I'm just going to do it myself here, studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand. In fact, that's probably where you should go, Weary Pirates, if you want to find all the different tips and all the things that I show here, because this has the answer to everything. So you've got your GarageBand iOS Essentials playlist there. This is a good place to start. If you're just learning GarageBand or you want to do that, you've got in here, you've got the how-to stuff, you've got basics of mixing, you've got audio interfaces, you've got mixing a whole song there, the touch guitar, you've got audio versus virtual channels there, your vocal recording setup, which is linked in the bottom of this one, how to use EQ on there, the master volume. So there you go. You've even got that master volume hack, recording with no gear in GarageBand, a whole heap of stuff there, all free and all at your fingertips there. How many videos? 37 in a row videos all about GarageBand, as well as all the other stuff, my GarageBand quick tips guide, and all the FAQs there about everything else there. So I reckon if you came in here and you searched mastering, there you go. Can you master? Yes, you can. Then you can just jump straight into this video. It'll take you straight to that mastering in GarageBand. And there it is. I'm using the AU peak limiter to master my track right there in GarageBand. Hopefully that helps you out. Thank you very much, Thomas Christ. And thank you very much to all of you for hanging out with me over the weekend. I hope for those who celebrate it, you have a good, peaceful 4th of July. Yeah, I know there's already been examples. I try not to watch the news, but I was ranting to my wife this morning and she's like, yeah, did you see what happened? No, I didn't. And yeah, okay. So yeah, be safe, be careful. If you can't, no, what is it? Be good. If you can't be good, be careful. Something like that. But be happy and healthy out there. And we'll be back on Friday. I'm looking at, on Thursday night or Friday, depending where around the world. We've got the Creator Town Hall. I'm going solo this week. We're going to be playing around with BandLab a bit more because, some cool options in there. So BandLab, unlike GarageBand, has a master track. It has beat matching and pitch control, and it has that video import feature. It has a lot of things in there that'll either complement your GarageBanding or maybe make you think, maybe I do give this other option a try. So do join me for that one. And then, of course, we've got another big full weekend. But for now, that's me signing off for our live shows for this weekend. If you're not on the mailing list, make sure you go and join that, studiolivetoday.com/email. That'll keep you up to date with our weekly newsletter so you know when we're live and when we're doing these shows. Jump on over to Rock and Ronnie Ward. Why don't we before we finish, let's have a live look-in, shall we, here. Ron Ward will be doing his live request edition of his show. So let's go see what Ron's up to. He's playing some tracks there. There you go. We've got Jade Star over there as well. We've got Mr. Smith. We've got a lot of folks having some fun over there. Leela's hanging out over there as well. All the cool kids are there, or they're all doing it. So do jump on over there. Look, I'll share you a link here. Jump on over there. Tell Rock and Ronnie Ward, say, hey, Pete sent me. And enjoy a little bit of music over there with Homegrown Indie Live and our man, Rock and Ronnie Ward. That's all for me, folks. I will see you on the next one. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others, and keep creating. And I'll see you next time on a little show we call GarageBand Weekly. Bye for now.
GarageBand Weekly. GarageBand Weekly.
See ya.